everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your fourth Walker episode review, I'm sorry if I sound really more fatigued than usual. I had a very long day and I am very, very exhausted. But here I am. We're back in Texas. We're getting things done, as they say. So this week we're back. Yeah, not much to say. Nothing funny happening in the world. We'll just talk about the episode. So this week we got some more. I really enjoy this episode. I feel like this kind of. It's weird how like this episode it's so weird to describe this episode, since it felt like a filler episode because I assumed this was a mystery theme show, or at least we had something to solve. And even though this wasn't really a filler episode, this was mainly just the characters just growing as characters and now learning new layers of certain characters. So in this case, I think mainly this episode mostly was a Micki focused episode with more emphasis on Walker and Micki's overall personal relationship and overall just regular friendship beginning to grow. And I feel like that was a really great thing for them to explore. I was really hoping for more of that since last week's episode, and not the fact that we got it. I'm really happy we did get that. And then we got we got way more question marks than normal with this episode. Like, there's so many new questions that popped up since it seemed like, since I said this at the end of the episode 2 review, that they were not going to proceed with the direction I thought they were going to do. And instead they're just doing a whole different type of story, which they're still doing that type of story, but now there's new questions that kind of like, well, what's really going on? Like, are there more secrets to the Walker family that we don't know of? And one we might get an answer to next week, but anyway, I can't talk about this anymore when I'm getting into spoilers. So let's go for the butchered recap and talk about this week's episode as best as I can, even though, also hopefully the microphone levels are back to normal. Hopefully we're back to normal, because last week's episode review, like when I did I did a great job on the original take. That was probably the most confident I've ever been. Sorry. I know I'm professional. I'm just exhausted after the day. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So hopefully this is coming through. Everything's fine. I'm not doing any sort of ADR or any sort of additional recording just to make up for it. So again, I apologize for last week. That was my mistake on my part, and I already had cleaned up the set, and I already had put everything back to normal, so I didn't feel like putting it back out again. So let's go for the butcher recap and talk about the episode. Sorry if I'm repeating again. We begin this week with Walker. It's still attempting to get to know Micki, like trying to get her middle name. And I honestly thought this was going to be a running theme throughout the first season now. That is this going to be Walker trying to guess Micki's name before the episode starts, and Micki's just like, nope, you ain't going to get it. And, I thought it was very nice banter, and definitely setting up the tone between the two of them with this week's episode. And then they get an alert from the dispatcher that there's a nearby vehicle that has escaped, been stolen or something. It's out of control, and since Walker and Micki were close by, so they go off to investigate. They manage to see the guy. They try pulling him over naturally, but it doesn't really work. The guy just continues accelerating, and then inevitably the guy goes off road. He stops his vehicle. Micki goes up to check on him. He's bleeding. He's bleeding through his forehead. He seems really knocked out. It seemed like he's dead, but according to Micki, he still has a pulse. So they gotta get the ambulance in on it as soon as they can. She also notices these blood marks, blood mark tattoos on his left arm, indicating he's part of a certain gang in the South Texas area. And so they supposedly got him. The next day, they're at a mini press conference, which I can really tell has been affected by COVID. This was 6 feet apart, very local. And I understand, local television, on a small town, or just, I don't know where they're exactly located. I don't know if it's Austin or Houston. I really forgot what the name of the town they're at is, but yeah, really, really small turnout. But again, I'm pretty sure that's a COVID-related matter. They're doing a press conference. The head detective or the sheriff, or I forgot the name of this guy, he is just telling everyone that, hey, look, this guy that was on the news last night, turns out he was a former gang member returned. There was another incident on another property which resulted in someone being dead. So they're just connecting the two together and just indicating like, boom, here's the murderer, here's the guy, case closed, we're done with this. And since this guy also offhand topic, he's about to retire, so this is kind of like his last big hurrah, like an easy case, in and out. Captain James goes up to Micki to kind of make her appearance known on camera. So even though Mickey's like, well, Walker isn't here, so I don't have a need to go up there. But saying, you know what, just come over here. So Micki does. She doesn't really say anything. She just is credited for being the officer to be the one to pull over the guy. I think his name is Enzo or something. I forgot the name. And meanwhile, while Mickey's on stage, she gets like really death stared by someone. Turns out to be her his daughter, and she's not happy with the fact that, you know, Mickey's up there, like, you know, showboating and like that she's a Texas Ranger. She got her father, and they're proving him to be a returned gang member, even though she said he's never been part of the gang again. It's totally fabricated. This totally lied. This whole BS. Mickey's trying to understand, like, you know, from Mexican to Mexican. Hey, look, I'm one of you. I understand your what you're going through, but, you know, we're still processing things, and the daughter's not believing a word of her. And meanwhile, back at the Walker household, they're officially moving into the barn house. They're moving in, so they're getting all their stuff packed in. Oh my god, I forgot the name again. Oh my god, damn! I am such a terrible host. I completely forgot the name again. Oh my god. You have to just call Walker's daughter again this week. I want to say it's Sydney, but I could be wrong. But so they're getting ready to move. Walker, Liam, August, even his daughter, Arl, pitching in someone. Walker promises the kids peak stuff if they can get everything done by the end of the night, which excites August. Doesn't really excite the daughter, since she has to go start performing her community service from last week's arrangement. So she does have to do that. This isn't like some sort of like offhand, like, you know, we're actually seeing the punishment for her, and I actually do quite enjoy seeing that, in terms of like just making sure the characters do what they're told to do, instead of just like, oh, offhand remark, they finished it off camera or something like that. Meanwhile, while August is going through one of the boxes that he's going through, he finds some memorabilia, like an old Texas Ranger hat that's kind of like more of like a promotional material than really a actual hat. He also finds a phone, which conveniently enough, Walker comes in at the same time, and Walker's a bit, you can tell he's a little bit shaken. He takes away the box from August, and meanwhile August also hides the phone underneath his cover, so Walker doesn't get to see it. But so he takes it away to to another place off the house so he can explore it. But August has this phone now, which is going to pose even more questions down the line. So I believe next is, I think I'm going to mention this here. Also, meanwhile, Grandma Walker is busy making this jam or something like that, which is ironic because this week I'm going to make some jam for a Valentine's Day special on something I'm doing. And she's making it. She's enjoying herself. Grandpa Walker comes in with a friend. There seems to be something off in the situation, but we don't quite know just yet, so we're just going to leave it alone by then. But there is some tension here for some weird reason. Where do we go from here? I believe, yeah, so there is another scene where Walker finds a place for the box to be put at, and he unearths this weird pile of letters that was addressed to Grandma Walker from some other dude, and it seems to be more like love notes. Like, if people, I still remember when people were doing that back in the day, but I'm like, okay, yeah, this is still definitely a thing in the 21st century, I guess. Walker's reading for one of them, indicating that like there was something going on here, but, you know, obviously no, this is Walker, so he's going to be a little bit more involved in. Sorry about that. He's going to be a little bit more into figuring things out from there. So, I believe we head into we head home. No, we head back to the station, and Walker's meeting up with Micki. Micki said there's something wrong with this case. There's really something off-putting about here. You know, they're trying to figure something out, but they're going to talk to Enzo after he's released from, you know, the hospital. Or I think, did we get that scene first, or did we get the interrogation scenes first? I completely forgot. No, we got that in order. So no, so they go to check, and It turns out a minute later they get notified that no, he passed away during while in the hospital, so they don't even bother going there. Also, this was kind of like a trust thing because Micki wanted to do this off the books because, you know, she's not so certain who she can trust, considering the fact they were really inclined to close this case fairly quickly. Walker's all bored since, according to him, doing stuff off the book is kind of like his specialty. So after they've discovered he passed away, they head over back to his house where they talk to the daughter. Micki's trying to plead with her that you know, they're trying to like do their best to try and figure things out, and the daughter's still very much like, look, the reason he's not in the gang anymore because, you know, the tattoos that, you know, indicate that he was part of the gang, you know, when they're filled in, that means you're done, your commitment's over, you're not part of the gang anymore, so you kind of have that status. And he was working very hard to be a good father to her. Like he wanted her to have a better life than he got, and, you know, she was going to med school before everything happened. And then also another thing to point out was that the man who was also killed, the other person, he was very much involved in their lives, you know, more than like a boss worker thing. So, which is a bit odd, but we'll come back to this later on. Then we head over to the guy's house where Walker and Micki are trying to figure out something. Maybe there's an ulterior motive. It's very hilarious that the daughter and the son of this rich man, which I know they said his name plenty of times in this episode, I just can't remember for the life of me, is very much definitely 21st century, you know, bougie. They are older than me per se, but, you know, damn, they're really into this current gen thing, I'm gonna tell you what. So I think from then on, yeah, so also one of them makes fun of Walker. It's like, it was actually pretty funny, and, you know, that's kind of a little bit hilarious. So they back off, and I believe they were there to witness the reading of the will, because considering the fact this is a rich dude with a ton of money and a ton of, you know, things wrapped up. Sorry about that. A lot of things tied up. He needs to leave someone to take care of everything, and instead of giving it to his wife or his kids, he's giving it to Enzo, his actual employee. So, which kind of shocks the family. But since Enzo is accused of the murder, so they need to wait on an official autopsy before they can proceed with it, before they can give all the money to the spouse. So now that they're part of something even bigger. Meanwhile, on both the August and daughter fronts, yeah, sorry if I'm saying daughter. I can't remember the name for life. The life of me, because I'm just blanking on the name. Hopefully by next week I'll figure it out. August is returning to the cute girl that he thinks is attractive from the previous 2 episodes, and he wants her. He's still trying. Well, this is mainly for something he needs to look for, because I think back in episode 1, he found Emily's camera, and there were some things in there that, you know, Walker preferred, like, oh, maybe you'll figure it out someday, but, you know, I can never get that thing to work. And, you know, she manages to get something from one of the films that was left over from the camera, and it turns out to be this photo with Walker, but with another woman, which immediately shocks August, because, like, the way Walker was happy in that photo compared to how he is recently, indicating that something must be up with this woman. So August leaves in a huff. Meanwhile, the daughter is about to start her community service at a local ranch or stable house that also is used for rehabilitating prisoners while they're on loan from the prison. So Walker also warns her ahead of time, like, try not to associate with the prison crowd, since he doesn't want her to be associated with them, and that's kind of fair. That's kind of a fair assumption to say. I believe from there, where do we go? Oh yeah, so during that time period, the stable hand asked for someone to, like, you know, to step up, who's an experienced ranch hand. She obviously raises her hand up. She's immediately on poop duty, and they're led by their recent foreman, or the second in command, which is another teenager who I can tell already has a thing for Walker's daughter. It is clear as day. This is typical teenage romance. I apologize for that. So I think they have a bonding moment in between. No, they don't have a bonding moment yet. They talk about things about, like, her experience and stuff like that, and things on the farm, and then they notice one of the horses escapes and starts galloping away. Walker's daughter decides to use this time period to kind of improve, to gain some, you know, reputation for herself, to go get this horse. The other guy follows suit. the manages to catch the horse pretty quickly, fairly off camera, of course. And the two talk. They talk about how August's daughter still feels bad about the whole getting her friend in trouble, now getting her family on the Eyes of Ice. So she's still feeling bad about that. And, it's kind of weird because, I know she likes him, but, this is kind of a problem that you would save for, someone way closer to you and not someone that you just met. But again, teenage love. You do whatever you want to get to be able to talk to the other person. He gets some decent advice, doesn't really give an advice, but he just says, look, just don't deny what you did. Just try and make sure that you won't do it again. So just simplistic advice, to be honest with you. They do get pretty close, as there's also another scene with her that she meets with Liam, and she meets with her friend and her friend's family, and basically he's telling them the options. Look, Ice has already got you in their crosshairs. It's only a matter of time before they come in to try and get you. There are options, but they do take a lot of time, and we don't know how much time they have left. So they're being very, very selective with their chances of getting through this thing. And she's obviously guilt-ridden that, there's got to be something we can do. We can't just let them get deported. And Liam's look, we got to do this by the book. We can't take any shortcuts. Otherwise, this could ruin their family forever. So obviously, he's taking the right steps on this matter. So there's also a scene where she and the stable hand, they're obviously into each other. They have a moment where Walker comes in to try and check in on her. She hides with him. It's clear this could have easily been a make-out moment, but they didn't. But it's clear that they're actually bonding. And then I think once she tries to go to her friend to kind of try and begin making up for her for what she did recently, she gets a notification from on her phone saying that the guy that she's with, I think his name is Trevor then, I believe. It could be Trevor, I'm not sure. I have to make sure about that next week if he's still there. He's following her, and she's extremely happy, meaning that, yeah, she's still very much likes the dude. I don't exactly know how we get to the next part of the Walker Micki story. I know Micki is in her house or apartment. I forgot what it is. I think it's a house, but I could be wrong. She's sketching. She's trying to figure this out from a different point of view. Her boyfriend's still there. He's still looking for a job. He's not still looking for a job. He's just starting to look for a job. And these two are very, very nice to each other. Then they don't immediately come across as because the one we were introduced to them, I think it was the first episode or the second episode. It was very much they just want to bang and they want to do it, and now they're kind of evolving to that. No, we're actually a couple, and we can very much be something more than just a fling. They're still working on it though, but Micki's kind of swamped with this case right now. And also it turns out Micki is a very expertise of a drawer. She actually made a superhero, and which is kind of a little funny and adorable. But then another scene when she's getting to figure out this case. Her boyfriend gives her a little bit of another sort of insight on the matter, which is enough to kind of wake her up, so to speak, and that's enough to get it working. And she figures out something, and her theory is that Ezio and the rich dude, could be related. Which I'm thinking, it kind of lines up. It's kind of weird, but it's they don't provide enough backstory. So they work with this theory that something could be up with their. They interrogate them again. They go back to the wife, and for the children are clear. Their alibi's been checked out, so they're clear of the kid. But she's not entirely done 100%. So they kind of inform her what their current thing is. That he could have been the father of Ezio, meaning that would have been a reason for him to remove her from the will and put him in. That's another plausible theory, but there's nothing to be confirmed out of there yet. And also the other red flag was that while she initially asked for the autopsy results, she was about to leave the area without asking for them again, even though she asked for them, meaning that she kind of already knows what was the fate of these people. So that's kind of a big red flag for them. So back at the station, they fill in James on the thing, and they're really kind of pushing their limits with this thing, considering the fact they don't want to kind of like go in behind the backs of another fellow officer who already considered the case closed, so he doesn't want to like, well, if he says it's closed, maybe it is closed, maybe we should move on from it. And then our resident talker around the station, she's also our hacker, apparently, and she finds this surveillance footage from in front of the house that indicates that the wife and this police officer are actually a thing. They're actually cheating. They're a fling. So now there's ulterior motives that he was covering it up so that he could protect her, and maybe they could start a new life with that money, since he was inching towards retirement, ironically around this time period. What was I going to say? But of course, obviously, this is a big stretch. They need some sort of like verbal confirmation, something to kind of prove this and ironclad this case through. So I believe from here, Micki and Walker decides to confront him. Not really in the confronting way, but just to like ask him questions. And Micki decides to ride along with him, and Walker's following suit. And then Micki very easily just labels down the bullet points, and he just cracks like a canary. Like, the man didn't even bother trying that much. I mean, that was really, really kind of weak to me, in my opinion. Walker alerts him to pull over and be arrested. He's not having it. He and Micki have like a gunfight, or not gunfight, but like just a struggle in the car. They managed to apprehend him and get him, so the case is solved. That was pretty easy, all things considered. So now that the will's kind of been amended, and since Ezio is deceased, and now the spouse is being accused, is actually going to be charged for this murder, or at least conspiracy to murder, then the money is forfeited then to Ezio's daughter, who said off camera that she's going to resume pre-meds, which is a cool thing. That's a cool thing for her to do and continue her career, her educational career. So that was considered a done case. Also, throughout the episode, I forgot to mention, Walker was kind of like dropping hints in the second half. Since early in the episode, I completely omit the scene in the recap that Walker, Micki, and James, and like a bunch of the other Rangers and officers were at Gigi's bar, and they were drinking towards like this guy's retirement. And then Walker got to meet some of Micki's old partners from her trooper days, and they actually gave Walker some insight about her, and kind of cheat the system a little bit. And Micki clarified that the reason why she didn't trust Walker wasn't because she didn't trust him, but because like she doesn't want to lose the job, and she doesn't want to make any sort of mistakes that could jeopardize that, which includes Walker, which does make sense in my opinion. So they have a barbecue to celebrate. They split up from there. Micki heads back home to meet with her boyfriend, who got a job at a local high school, I believe. So I think he's going to be more involved in Walker's children's life, in my opinion. So that's probably going to be the case, going forward. It seems like, again, they're making some strides towards becoming a real couple, and they're really trying here. Meanwhile, Walker heads back home to do a two-front confrontation. One is to his mother, that he admits that he knows about the letters, and she says, she doesn't deny, she just said that was a long time ago, and he said that wasn't really much long ago. And Walker kind of theorizes that, is this why Dad was sleeping in the bunkhouse? Because he doesn't trust you anymore, which is kind of weird, because considering the fact they are old and they're kind of dependent on each other. It is kind of weird. Plus, they have family around. I'm pretty sure the whole Emily thing and then the whole Walker being away kind of just uprooted the plants a little bit to kind of maybe split off. But it's a very awkward thing that they have, and then hopefully they'll figure it out in the future weeks. And then Walker has a little bit of a remembrance towards Emily. Also, fun fact, we didn't get an Emily flashback this week. No weird flashback cues, it's just no Emily. Like, we barely got any mentions from her. But what was curious was that we get a scene with Liam at a nearby food truck, and he's beginning to meet with one of his associates that turns out Captain James requested the Emily cam footage a couple days ago, which is ironic since for us as viewers, we considered the case to be closed after episode 2. And also James just told Walker, like, don't even bother investigating. Like, the case is closed already. So there's a lot of, I think they might reignite this mystery, but I could be wrong. Walker heads back to the barn house. He discovers the made picture from the camera roll. August confronts Walker, and Walker just basically said, that was from my undercover life. It's over. I'm trying to move on. Don't worry about it, that sort of thing. And August isn't really entirely happy with that answer, but that's all he can get right now. Walker decides to defuse the situation by saying, look, the only reason why your mom isn't in these photos is because she's usually the photographer, so they're never usually in the shot. So don't worry about that. And also, you should be our new family photographer since you're gaining so much of an interest of this, which is true. And also trying to ploy off the undercover life crowd. And I believe from then, Walker heads into his son's room the next morning and discovers his old burner phone, which August activated, and he also texted the woman he presumes to be from the photo, which she does definitely respond back, indicating that Walker was a criminal in this undercover life, and he was supposedly in jail. So now Walker leaves, presumably to kind of deal with this, since now he's back on the radar. And that's where we end off this week. So again, I think I really did enjoy this episode. I think this definitely helped more towards the bonding between Walker and Micki. I definitely like we're now making baby steps towards just adding new layers to these characters. Like, you know, we're not stretching at the whole the Emily connection to everyone, or how is everything being affected now. Like, this is clear by day. This is just something new that they're doing, and they're building up these characters. And hopefully next week we're gonna have a big resolution to what happened in Walker's previous undercover life, and we're gonna hopefully know more about that. And yeah, and I really love all the development towards Micki this week. This was definitely a Micki episode, and I really, you know, she's a really cool character so far. I'm loving this character, and I can't wait to see where she goes from here. And so I think for me, I'm gonna give this episode. I'm gonna put down my microphone since that was way near me. 2 thumbs up. So yeah, I apologize if I was acting half dead this week. I am very exhausted, but I do not lose. I don't lose a week. So I commit, I power through, and I think that's gonna do it for me because I'm about to pass out. So if you're unaware, this has been What's on the Tube reviewing every single episode of Walker. If you want to do what we're doing overall, What's on the Tube besides our Walker episode reviews, we're doing every rookie season 3 episode review on Monday mornings after a brand new episode, on Sunday nights on ABC, and then Hulu the next day. We'll be back this Monday with that, considering the fact it was off the air for 2 weeks. We did some quick impressions in the meantime. You have to check those out. We did one for Smallville, and we did one for Lost, so check those out. I think those are pretty fun. We also do Nancy Drew season 2 episode reviews each and every Thursday morning after a brand new episode on Wednesday nights on the CW, and free the next day on the CW app and the CW.com. But if you don't care about Walker, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another episode review. Hopefully this time with... Last week we lost the mic. And then this week I lost most of my energy. Hopefully next week we'll kind of be back to normal. Kind of be more stabilized. But that's hopeful. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube.com. Ring that bell for notification when our next Walker review is live, which is again each and every Friday morning. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it does help us out, get us out there to other people who have yet to discover us, you know, spread the word on our, you know, little Walker episode reviews, and it's also for free. Follow us on social media to be up to date with our current content, if there's any change in the schedule. Also follow us on Twitch to be up to date on any sort of streaming we're going to do, which hopefully will be fixed sooner than later. As for you, Texas Rangers, I'll see y'all next week on the next episode review. But until then, be good to each other, stay safe out there, and peace out.